Hello students, welcome back to Community Health Nursing. So yesterday we were discussing regarding women empowerment. So we have seen what is the women empowerment and the various areas where really women can do miraculous jobs. So today we are going to continue with a few more things which you can really brainstorm yourself so that you can really make a good content for your women empowerment topic. So today let us discuss some of the points coming under the status of women. It is also along with women empowerment. So when we look into the sex ratio, what do you mean by sex ratio? I'm very sure you all will be knowing what is sex ratio. Sex ratio means we are going to see the number of females for 1000 males. So in India, we know that it is not in an equal form. The sex ratio always, when we see, the female number is always less, like 943 female for 1000 males. So it varies from state to state. So here in India, when we see, we are calculating the overall average of the sex ratio. So in some of the states it is really very poor, in some of the states it is an average. So sex composition, when we see, the small family norm and longing for a male child has changed the sex ratio. The gender discrimination is accountable for this decline in female ratio. Kerala, with 1084 females per 1000 males, has the highest sex ratio according to 2011 census of India. So according to 2000 census, we can really be proud that in Kerala we maintain the sex ratio. That means at least females are more than males. But it is not the same way in all the states, because the gender discrimination, as I have told, in even though the family is educated, the society is educated, there is still some of the myth factors or stigma related to the sex of a child which is born. So always the people or the family, they used to feel proud if a male baby is born. If it is the first baby, second baby, it doesn't matter, but still at least they all urge that at least one male child should be there in the family. So it is one of the reason which we can tell that there is a change in the sex ratio. So sex ratio is one of the thing which we have to think about, because when women empowerment, when we are talking about, there is equal importance of male and female. So if you have a male child or a female child, it doesn't matter. It is just about the health of the child. It is just about how much the child is worth towards the society, how much the child is worth towards the family, how we educate our child, how the child rear up and being a good individual and to be a good citizen to the country. That only matters. If it is male or female, it should have an equal value and status in the society. But still there is a question mark in many of the states, even in many of the cultures, to have a male child. Next, what we can think is regarding the nutrition and feeding of a girl baby. That means in some culture, as we all know, when the girl baby is born, some areas they never feed the girl baby with the breast milk. Only otherwise, only for a shorter period of time they used to feed the girl baby, because there is a myth factor which tells that she is going to get married and going to be out of the family, so there is no much need to breastfeed the female child. But it is also a myth factor or a wrong concept, because as a educated family or as an educated citizen, we should always think, if the female child is getting good nutrition, then only the next generation will become healthier. So if you are denying nutrition and breast milk to a female child, of course the just next generation is going to face the nutritional problems. Otherwise, low birth weight babies will be born for them, anemic status can be occurred in the coming generation. All these things can occur. So the nutrition and feeding of the female baby also matters a lot. Even in some of the culture we can see that the inequality is also very high, even till the graveyard. That means, for example, we can tell that some of the family or some of the culture, they believe that even the parents die also, the rituals, everything should be performed mainly by the male son only. The daughter will not be having that much of value. That's why in the liturgical form they have told that the discrimination starts from birth, and the till the graveyard it continues. From the birth onwards till the death, many of the rights in the family, the male and female, they don't have an equality. Even when we tell about some of the culture regarding the ancestor property, even the ancestor property also will be given to the son only, not to the daughter. So the ancestor property, always, as we all know, the if male or female, the children, they have the equal right on the parental property. But still in the cultures it persists that males, they only will be getting the major share, and females will be given little amount during the marriage in the form of dowry. Even though the word dowry is not permitted, but still in our culture silently the system is following by giving a small share during the marriage time, and they are letting the daughter out of the family and making her to reach to the other family. So these are some of the things you have to think while we study the women empowerment. Next is regarding education. Even in education also, as we all know, like a majority of the families nowadays, we give proper education for male and female. There is no such discrimination, especially educated parents, otherwise educated society. There we cannot see such imparities, but still it persists. Like in India, when we are studying community, we should not think only about Kerala, or we should not think only about family. We are studying about the whole community. So like it has so much of district, there are different states. So it's a unity in diversity, what India where we live is. So of course we can see that still there are some rural villages or tribal groups which really believe that there is no need of education for the women. She can give birth to the children, and she can rear the next generation, and she can do the cooking and be in the kitchen. So such type of attitude is still persisting in some of the community, at least. So this is also a question mark where we have to think when we discuss under women empowerment. Next is regarding the wages for women and men and women, that already we have discussed even yesterday also. So whatever work they do, they're all, the men are getting a more wage than the women, even though they both do the same construction work, even though they both do the same field work, still the wages what they get, they we can see a huge difference. So it is also one of the imparity, or the it is also a question mark towards the status of women. The next one is child marriage. So we all know that it has been already been abolished, but still there are it used to be practiced, or the early marriages are used to be prevalent in our country. So because of that, mainly the girls are affected. So because of child marriage, especially the women, so they will be before attaining the reproductive maturity, they all will be getting married, and they all will be having high risk of getting sexually abused by the partner. And even many time, usually, since as we all know, in the family their responsibilities, otherwise the number of children, the spacing, everything will be affected if early marriages happen. So we all have already, I'm very sure you all have already studied under the topic family planning, or the methods of family planning, or the small family norm. norm. This is all why the government has brought is in order to bring up the health status of the female. Not only the health status, in order to have a woman empowerment, so that she can equally take up all the other responsibilities. So if she is facing much more pregnancies without any spacing, and if her health is diminishing day by day, and if she is leading to anemic status, then of course the woman empowerment will be very slow. Otherwise, this all will act as a hindering factors, or this all will be some of the barriers which stand towards the woman empowerment. So we have to equalize. We should give the freedom to the women when she can get married, at what age she would like to. So nowadays, maximum of the educated generation, they tell that once we possess a job, once we get a job, then only we would like to have a family. Because as we know, nowadays, like economical status or balancing the economy of the family, it is a very big question mark in front of all middle class family or even a high class family, because the expenses is really getting higher day by day. So in maximum of the family, even your family also, you can see that the husband and wife, or your father and mother, both of them has to work. Then only we can really have some of the savings. Otherwise, the balance should be made in such a way by compromising many of the standards. So here comes the question of child marriage also. Then, as we all know, there are many things like child marriage violates the right of young girls also, like terminating their education earlier, then hindering any chances to get vocational and life skills, because early in the early ages they are getting married. So of course their higher education will be stopped. They will not be able to get a job, or they will not be able to attain some other life skills, and teenage pregnancies can occur, early childbearing, and motherhood before they are physically and psychologically matured, as I have told. Then intimate partner sexual violence and even HIV infections, because they are not being to be much matured in the sense of reproductive system. So sometimes they will be able to face sexual violence even from the partner side. There are various measures also to prevent the childhood marriages. Like when we tell about the measures, first one is providing equal access to education for both the females and males. So our if the child is girl or boy, both of them should have equal access towards the education, and mobilizing girls, boys, parents and leaders to change the practices that discriminate girls from boys. So the first of all, the main thing is we have to change the mindset of the people. So the mindset of the parents, mindset of the elders, mindset of the leaders, so that the practice can be entirely changed. There should not be any discrimination between female child or a male child. Then providing girls who are already married with options for schooling. Like even though early marriages happens also, their education should not be stopped. They should continue the education. Then employment. Of course, the same way as a male baby get a job, it is the same way how a female also struggle and gets a job. So of course she should get the equal value. She should be able to get the support from the family, telling that she has also studied hard, she should also do a job, because it is her dreams. See, dreams and wings of dreams is not for only one gender. It is equal for a male and female. So വിദ്യാഭ്യാസം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ആൺകുട്ടിക്കും പെൺകുട്ടിക്കും ഒരേ രീതിയിൽ തന്നെ ലഭിക്കുന്ന ഒന്നാണ്. സോ അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഒരു ജോലി കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാനും അതിൻ്റെ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകളും ഇവർക്ക് രണ്ടുപേർക്കും ഒരേപോലെ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകളുണ്ട്. സോ ഒരു ആൺകുട്ടിക്ക് ജോലി കിട്ടുന്ന അതേ രീതിയിൽ തന്നെ വേണം നമ്മളൊരു പെൺകുട്ടിക്കും ജോലി കിട്ടുന്നതിനെ കാണാൻ. So whatever she has studied, it is ultimately for the next generation, or it is for her to get a job and to stand on her own legs. So that respect should be given to the female also. Then access the factors for predisposing child marriage, gender inequality, and discrimination and child sexual abuse. So we have to assess in each family what are the main predisposing factors. Sometimes male dominance will be there in some family, sometimes the cultural factors or some myth factors, or because of some social stigma, they're afraid that if my wife go for a job, others what they will think, what the society will think. So such type of factors should be, first we have to assess and we have to bring it out, and we should educate the people to solve all these problems. Next one of the problem is dowry system. As we all know, the word or the system of dowry has been already stopped, but still, as I have told, silently the things are moving. Most families feels that the girl child are the pain in the eyes or a big burden, since they need to spend much more money for her marriage. Even as we all know, even though in now our generation also, if a female girl is born, of course they all will, first of all they all will happily welcome the child, but at least in the lifetime, at least once they all will utter the word. Many of the people, I'm not telling all, many of the majority of the people, they comment that, oh, it's a female girl, you have to spend a lot, for her education, then for her marriage you have to save plenty of money. So such type of things are there. So though the dowry system was banned by the Indian government in 1961, we still witness many bad consequences of unpaid dowry. Even in many of the newspapers or in the news, even in nowadays, even നിങ്ങൾ ഇന്നത്തെ വാർത്ത തന്നെ വെച്ച് നോക്കിയാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അതുപോലെയുള്ള ഒരു ഇൻസിഡൻസ് എങ്കിലും കാണാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കും. It has reduced a lot the incidences, but still we have to wipe it out from our society, the consequences the females faces because of unpaid dowry system. Next is sexual violence. As I have told, it is also one of the intrinsic factor where really the status of women is questioned. So sexual violence or against the females also should be reduced. Otherwise, it will also act as a intrinsic factor or a barrier towards the women empowerment. So this is all what you have to discuss under women empowerment. It is one of the most important topic which can be asked for a short answer. So for a short answer, when it comes, you have to first of all write what do you mean by women empowerment, and which are the areas where women can really perform very nicely, and what is the present status of women, or what are the intrinsic factors of the women which really act as barriers towards the women empowerment. One of the next topic is female feticide. Even it is also along with this only, because I'm very sure you all know what is female feticide. So female feticide means once the sex is determined, there is a tendency to kill the female baby inside the womb. It is all because of some connecting chains, or all because of some myth factors like dowry system, or because of the dominancy in the society, or because of the status in the society. As I have told, the gender discrimination is the major cause for even female feticide. The determination of sex has been prohibited, and it is a punishable offense in India. We all know that. Why Indian government has made like that? Because in order to prevent the female feticide. നമുക്കെല്ലാം അറിയാം, എബ്രോഡിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഡെവലപ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കൺട്രീസിലൊക്കെ പ്രഗ്നൻ്റ് ആയി സ്കാൻ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ കുട്ടിയുടെ ജെൻഡർ അവർ വെളിപ്പെടുത്തും അവരുടെ സ്കാനിങ് റിപ്പോർട്ടിൽ തന്നെ. ഇന്ത്യയിൽ എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് അത് അവോയ്ഡ് ചെയ്തിപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുള്ളത്? ബിക്കോസ് ഓഫ് ഫീമെയിൽ feticide in India, because of the cultural factors. In many of the states we have seen that many of them, they kill the female child inside the womb because of the such type of myth factors. So really the Indian government has prohibited the determination of sex, or it will not be revealed to the parents while scanning. So after the delivery only they'll be able to know that what is the gender of their child. No genetic counseling center or genetic laboratory or genetic clinic should conduct or cause to be conduct in its centers regarding the gender of fetus. So it is a punishable offense. No person shall conduct or cause to be conducted any prenatal diagnostic technique including ultrasonography for the purpose of determining. Even though ultrasonography is done, they will never reveal the gender of the fetus. So it is all taken in a serious manner so that the female feticide can be brought down. So now let us discuss few things regarding the women abuse. So when the word abuse we hear, it is not only for women. Under this particular unit we study regarding women abuse, child abuse, elderly abuse. So there are various things. So elderly abuse already in a much detailed manner we have already studied in last units. We have seen what are the ways in which a elder women or a elder generation or a old age person is getting abused. The same way here we are going to discuss regarding some of the points of women abuse. What do you mean by women abuse? Women abuse, so if you want to, we all know what is it and we all know what are the various types of abuse, but when we tell about the definition, how we can really write? Women abuse is the intentional and systematic use of tactics to establish and maintain power and control over the thoughts, beliefs, and conduct of a woman through the inducement of fear or dependency. See, it's a very clear definition. I would recommend to you all to by heart this particular definition because, see, I am very sure when this question comes for a 2 mark question, many of you writes the types of women abuse. But what about the definition? How you can define what is a women abuse? Women abuse means intentional and systematic use of tactics. അത് വളരെ ഇൻറ്റൻഷനലാണ് അല്ലേ, അതായത് പർപ്പസ്ഫുൾ ആയിട്ടാണ് അത് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. വുമൻ അബ്യൂസ് അറിയാതെ ഒരിക്കലും നമ്മൾ ഒരു വിമനെ അബ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല, അറിഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ടാണ്, ഇൻറ്റൻഷനലി. ആൻഡ് സിസ്റ്റമാറ്റിക് യൂസ് ഓഫ് ടാക്ടിക്സ്, അതായത് സ്റ്റെപ്പ് ബൈ സ്റ്റെപ്പായിട്ട് ഒരു ടാക്ടിക്സ് ഉപയോഗിച്ച്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു 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 ഫീമെയിലിനെ ഡയറക്റ്റ് പോയി റേപ്പ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ മാത്രമല്ല അവൾ അബ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യപ്പെടുന്നത്. സ്റ്റെപ്പ് ബൈ സ്റ്റെപ്പ് ബൈ യൂസിങ് ടാക്ടിക്സ്. എന്ത് ടാക്ടിക്സ്? ഇൻ ഓർഡർ ടു എസ്റ്റാബ്ലിഷ് ആൻഡ് മെയിൻറ്റെയിൻ ദ പവർ ആൻഡ് കൺട്രോൾ. അവളുടെ മേളിലുള്ള അധികാരവും അവകാശവും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവളെ കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുവാണ്. അവളെ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നോട്ട് ഓൺലി ഹെർ ബോഡി, ഹെർ തോട്ട്സ്, ഹെർ ബിലീഫ് ആൻഡ് ഹെർ കണ്ടക്ട്. ദ ഫുൾ അവളുടെ ചിന്തകളെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവളുടെ ബിലീഫ്സിനെ എല്ലാത്തിനെയും കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുകയാണ്. they are going to maintain and establish a power and control over her thoughts, over her belief and over her conduct through the inducement. എന്ത് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട്? അവളെ പേടിപ്പിച്ച് നിർത്തിക്കൊണ്ട്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവളെ എപ്പോഴും ഒരു ഡിപ്പെൻഡൻസി കാറ്റഗറിയിലാക്കിക്കൊണ്ട്. ഒരാണില്ലാതെ നിനക്കൊരിക്കലും ജീവിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നീ ഒരു പെണ്ണാണ്, നീ സമൂഹത്തിലോട്ട് നീ എങ്ങനെ ജീവിക്കും, സമൂഹത്തിൽ നീ തനിച്ച് എങ്ങനെ യാത്ര ചെയ്യും. സോ സച്ച് ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് ഫിയർ ഓർ സച്ച് ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് ഡിപ്പെൻഡൻസി is induced to a woman so that her thoughts and beliefs are controlled or powered by using tactics, by using systematic use of tactics and intentional purpose. So this is what is known as women abuse. So the tactics which we have told, that means the types, what all tactics, but are not limited to. So it's not only emotional, it is not only financial, it is not only physical or sexual, as well as intimidation, isolation, threats, using the children and using the social status and privilege. So which are the various types we can see we have already studied the various types of abuse: emotional abuse, financial abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. So not only these things, by making her alone, by making her dreamless, by making her giving various threats, by showing her children and by blackmailing her, and by using social status, what others will think if you do like that, if you put this, what others will think about you. So such type of things. So that's why we have told it is overruling of her thoughts and even beliefs also of a woman. So women abuse includes the sum of all past act of violence and the promise of future violence that achieves enhanced power and control for the perpetrator over the partner. So you can really there is no need for you to by heart all the three lines, but at least the first line you all should by heart, because it really tells the meaning of what a women abuse is. So really women abuse എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഈ എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളുടെയും ഒരു സം ടോട്ടലാണ് അല്ലേ. ഓൾ ദ പാസ്റ്റ് ആക്ട് ഓഫ് വയലൻസ്, ഇതുവരെ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്ന വയലൻസും ആൻഡ് ദ പ്രോമിസ് ഓഫ് ഫ്യൂച്ചർ വയലൻസ്, ഞാൻ ഭാവിയിലും ഇങ്ങനെ തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കും നിന്നോട് എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ദ്രാഷ്ട്യഭാവം. സോ ഇറ്റ്സ് എ കോമ്പിനേഷൻ. That is what women abuse is really. So you can at least by heart the first sentence. What is women abuse? Women abuse is the intentional and systematic use of tactics to establish and maintain power and control over the thoughts, belief and conduct of a woman through the inducement of fear or dependency. This is what is women abuse means. So let us see what are the preventive measures of women abuse. So the various preventive measures over the women abuse is like enforcement of law on violence against women. So nowadays, as we all know, the rules and regulations has changed a lot. If there is any harm towards the women, it will be questioned. സോ നമുക്ക് തന്നെ അറിയാം, ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു പോലീസ് സ്റ്റേഷനിൽ പോയിട്ട് ഒരു ഫീമെയിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഇങ്ങനെ ഇന്ന രീതിയിൽ ഈവൻ സൈക്കോളജിക്കലി ഓർ ഫിസിക്കലി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സെക്ഷുവലി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഫിനാൻഷ്യലി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇമോഷണലി ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു രീതിയിൽ അവളെ ഹരാസ് ചെയ്തു അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് റിയലി ഷീ വിൽ യൂസ് ടു ഗെറ്റ് പ്രൊട്ടക്റ്റഡ്. സോ ദ ലോ ഈസ് വെരി സ്ട്രോങ് ഫോർ ദാറ്റ്. സപ്പോർട്ടിംഗ് ജെൻഡർ സെൻസിറ്റൈസേഷൻ by conducting public awareness programs. So making so much of public awareness programs are there, so that the gender sensitization or the gender discrimination should be avoided, and encourage the media to play a constructive role. Any harm against females, it all will be always questioned in a social media. Provision of easily accessible 24/7 information services to inform any violence related to women. So any violence against women, it will be questioned, like that means the whole day, 24/7. That's why we have so much of toll free numbers also. If there is any harm, even district wise we have various women helpline numbers. Even in India also there are various women helpline numbers in for each district, and police cell, everything, so that if we just give a call and tell that here it is happening, so of course it will have a real effect. Then provision of legal services free of cost or at affordable rate. So the legal services for women, and regional women related policies. So each region, if some particular region, if they would like to bring up the educational status of the female, they have so much of other policies like giving free education, like so much of things they used to provide, especially in the rural area and in the backward states. Strengthening Mahila Mandals and women's organization all over the India. We all know that there are various programs, especially giving support for females, like adolescent programs are there, maternal and child health programs are there, reproductive and child health program, even phase 2 of RCH, it also provide various things which really support the education of the females and the antenatal status, the health of the females, all these things, education of all female, family support, involving all the helpline numbers. So these all are various preventive measures against the women abuse. So there are various women welfare programs also in India. Even after Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he has started various educational programs, especially for females. So one of the leading campaign is Save Your Daughters, Educate Your Daughters. That means Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. അല്ലേ, നിങ്ങൾ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാമിനെ കുറിച്ച് കേട്ടിട്ടില്ലേ? ബേട്ടി ബച്ചാവോ ബേട്ടി പഠാവോ. ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് വി ഹാവ് ടു സേവ് അവർ ഡോട്ടേഴ്സ് ആൻഡ് വി ഹാവ് ടു എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റ് അവർ ഡോട്ടേഴ്സ്. So even in Haryana state, they have chosen for the initial campaign. So in the 12 district they have started, because there the sex ratio was really less when compared to other states. It was only 775 for 1000 males. So there is a huge difference, like at least 200 to 300 number difference is coming between male and female ratio. So under this program, they are maximum trying to incorporate various principles in order to provide respect towards the girls and women, in order to protect the girls and women, in order to support the right of all the small girls and the women. So there are various welfare programs also in India. Next one is childhood abuse. The same way as we have told regarding a female, the same way there is child abuse also. So because as I have told, even children and females, they both are always psychologically, they used to be get abused, because they others always use the word that they are vulnerable group. So vulnerable group, it doesn't mean that they are psychologically they should be abused. See, they cannot be they cannot be questioned in the matter of their strength or physical strength. The same way, even child also, children are also always used to get abused, because in many of the places, as we all know, the abuse in the form of, it can be maybe in the form of educational abuse. Many parents, they never send them for proper education, they never give them proper food. It can be any form of neglecting, or it can be sexual abuse. Even in the newspapers and the news nowadays, we can see that. So there are various things. Because as I have told, there is one of the thing they always tell, that children is the weakest section or the weakest part of the society, and are at a risk of many environmental hazards that adults till they have not attained complete maturity of their organs and physiological system. Since the children, they have not attained the maturity, not only physiologically, even see, we all know that physical maturity is very much important, even for doing a job, even for a family responsibility, even for their growth and development. So the physiological system or the functions of the body, they have to attain the maturity, then only we can equalize them to an adult. So the fetus in womb is open to a number of agents that can make their entry through placenta and may cause developmental abnormalities also. The effect of severity of exposure to mother and baby are based on the developmental stages at which the infection occurs. See, like that much of importance is given to a fetus or to a newborn child. The possibilities of unique pathway of exposure that may increase their risk also. This is because the children play with mouth surface and object. Even the small children, they don't know how to maintain their own personal hygiene, or they don't know how the organisms, microorganisms come inside. They play with all the things, they usually get the pleasure by oral sucking. So the mouth surface, everything will be always contaminated. The children are potential for long term exposures to environmental hazards also, like drowning, water, electricity, sunlight. So they should be protected well, more than any other individual. Children live, learn and play in different physical environments than adult. So because the children, it is not the way, same way as we travel. When they travel from one place to another, or when they learn the things, when they play with the things, they are exposing to various physical environments. The children has absolutely less knowledge and control over the hazards also. So these are the things which we should keep in mind always when we handle a child. So let us discuss some of the types of child abuse. As I have told, any abuse, if it is old age abuse, if it is women abuse or child abuse, we can classify it into physical abuse, psychological abuse, sexual abuse, educational abuse, financial abuse. The same way here also for children, there are various things. So one is psychological abuse. Psychologically, how we, if we torture a child, I don't want to explain much more, because you have already been studied all these things under your third year child health also. It is all repeated topics, like even the parents attitude is psychologically how we can misuse a child. See, sometimes the act of omitting, അല്ലേ, the parents do not show any love or affection. നമ്മൾ അവരെ വൊമിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുകയാണ്, വി ആർ ഒമിഷൻ, നമ്മൾ അവരെ ജസ്റ്റ് അവരെ നമ്മൾ നോക്കുന്നേ ഇല്ല, വി ആർ നോട്ട് ഷോയിങ് ലവ് ടുവേഴ്സ് ദം. നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഈസ് ആക്ട് ഓഫ് കമ്മീഷൻ, ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് റിജക്റ്റിംഗ്, വി ആർ റിജക്റ്റിംഗ് ദം. അവരെന്ത് പറഞ്ഞാലും നോ പറയുക, അവരെ ഇൻസൾട്ട് ചെയ്യുക. ചിൽഡ്രൻ ഈസ് നോട്ട് അലൗഡ് ടു എൻജോയ് സോഷ്യലൈസേഷൻ, മറ്റുള്ള ആരുടെ അടുത്തും അവരെ വിടാതിരിക്കുക, മറ്റുള്ളവരുമായി മിങ്കിൾ ചെയ്യാൻ അനുവദിക്കാതിരിക്കുക, മറ്റുള്ളവരുടെ കൂടെ കളിക്കാൻ അനുവദിക്കാതിരിക്കുക. സോ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഓൾ സം ഫോം ഓഫ് psychological abuse what we do with children. And neglect, when we really neglect any serious act or omission by a person having the care of a child, that within the bound of cultural tradition consist constitutes a failure to provide conditions that are essential for the healthy physical and emotional development of a child. So if we are not providing good food to the child, if we are not providing good shelter, if we are not providing good clothes, if we are not providing medicine, if we are not giving our love and affection, or if we are not supervising, if we are not guiding them properly in their childhood, this is all what is known as neglect. So always a neglected child, he or she will be really having so much of consequences in the future, like lack of confidence. The child will not have a proper confidence, and the child will not be mingling with others. He or she will be always isolated in the society. Then physical abuse, as we all know, physically we are hurting. നമ്മൾ പിഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുക, അവരെ തല്ലുക, കടിക്കുക, അവരെ കെട്ടിയിടുക, അതുപോലെയുള്ള ഫിസിക്കൽ ഹരാസ്മെൻറ്റ്. സോ ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ഓൾസോ ലീഡ് ടു ഡിപ്രഷൻ, ഫിയർ. അക്കാഡമിക്കലി ദേ വിൽ നോട്ട് ബി ഏബിൾ ടു പെർഫോം വെൽ, ലോ സെൽഫ് എസ്റ്റീം. ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള കാരണങ്ങൾക്കൊക്കെ ഫിസിക്കൽ അബ്യൂസും കാരണമാകും. ദെൻ ഡൊമസ്റ്റിക് ആൻഡ് ഫാമിലി വയലൻസ്. സോ ഇഫ് റിയലി the relationship between the parents and children, otherwise even between the parents, if the child is daily seeing that the mother is getting beating from the father, or the father is a drunken person and always doing harm towards the mother or to them, so this type of family violence can also make so much of problem among the women, among the children. So children can become fearful, they can become anxious, they can become unpredictable about the threats. So later in their life they will not have a proper personality even for such type of children. So this is all what we have to think about when we study child abuse and sexual abuse. So as we all know, through the newspapers and the daily media, we used to hear abuse. Sexual abuse is not only towards reproductive women, it is towards even menopaused women, old age women, it is towards a male child, a female child. So sexual abuse is really one of the worst abuse against any category of individual. So sexual abuse is also one of the main abuse which is coming under the various child abuse. So let us see some of the act which really protect the children from all these things. So first one is child marriage. Restraint Act. So child marriage has been stopped by 1929. Then Child Labor Prohibition Act by 1986. And Food Act, that means the regulation of protection, supply and distribution of the food, by 1992, because young children, they really need fresh and hygienic food. The preconception and prenatal diagnostic technique, that means prohibition of the sex determination, or sex determination is prohibited through this act in 1994. Immoral Traffic Act in 1956. Guardian and Ward Act. What is the role of a guardian? How he or she should protect the child. Then the Young Persons Act, that means Harmful Publications Act by 1956. The Commissions for Protection of Child Rights Act. So these are some of the act which you should always remember. Why? Because the children should be free of discrimination. The government policies should always focus the core interest of the children. The children should survive and develop to their full potential, and children's views and perspectives are important and need to be heard. So these things always we should keep in mind. This is why the government is providing various laws and regulations. Here also I have discussed some of the things which you can even write and keep also. Some of the constitutional laws, the right of equality, the right to freedom and compulsory elementary education, the right to protected from any hazardous employment till the age of. So we have seen it in the Indian Factory Act, under the Indian Factory Act, or under the Employees State Insurance, all this occupational act we have seen. We have prohibited the job of children who is less than 14 years, because they should get compulsory elementary education during that time. Then right to be protected from being abused. then right to equal opportunities, right to nutrition, right to get the good standard of living, right to have early childhood care and education. So these all are some of the important things, important constitutional laws which really they used to get supported. So with this, let us conclude today's class. In the coming class we will be continuing with the other topics. Thank you all.